Subscribe to the channel, do it now. News stories every day. Now let's get started. I first met Lucy in the quiet suburbs of Northern Virginia, where quaint streets merged into rolling hills and where everyone seemed to know one another. I was visiting an old college friend who had invited me for a long weekend. It was a brisk fall day, the sun just beginning to set behind a row of tidy, identical houses. Among them stood Lucy's home, a modest single-story residence with a wide front porch. The moment I saw her sitting on the porch swing with a mug of tea in her hands, I felt a strange flutter in my stomach. She glanced my way, offered me a gentle smile, and from that moment I was transfixed. Lucy was everything I thought I wanted in a partner. She was 24, only a year younger than me, with warm brown eyes and a contagious laugh that seemed to cut through even the gloomiest days. She had grown up in that suburban neighborhood, surrounded by childhood friends, close-knit family gatherings, and the comfort of familiarity. Her hair was dark and cascaded softly around her face, framing delicate features that lit up with each laugh. I, on the other hand, was just starting my career in New York City, renting a small studio apartment in Queens while I tried to climb the corporate ladder in a mid-sized tech company. Over the course of that weekend, Lucy and I quickly clicked. We shared silly jokes, took walks around her old high school football field, and discovered a mutual love for cheesy horror movies. By Sunday evening, when I was packing up my car to head back to the city, Lucy approached me with a hopeful expression. Lucy, shyly, I've always wondered what it would be like to live somewhere exciting like New York. Maybe someday I'll take the leap. Me smiling, why not make that leap sooner? I've got a tiny place, but, well, maybe we could figure something out. I half expected her to laugh off my impulsive suggestion, but instead, a spark lit in her eyes. We stayed in touch daily, texting and calling, and within 3 months, Lucy decided to join me. She packed her modest collection of belongings into the trunk of my sedan and waved goodbye to her parents on that same front porch, and we set off for New York City. When we arrived, Lucy was immediately entranced by the skyline. Even though I was used to Manhattan's towering silhouettes, seeing it through her fresh perspective made me fall in love with the city all over again. My studio apartment was cramped and bare bones, a single futon, a rickety coffee table, and a makeshift kitchen with barely enough room to turn around. Still, Lucy acted like it was a palace. Lucy, wide-eyed, I can't believe I'm here. The lights, the people, the energy. It's like stepping into a movie. We spent the next few months settling into a routine. I'd go to work early, trying to impress my bosses by staying late, while Lucy found part-time employment in a trendy boutique in Brooklyn. She'd come home brimming with stories of interesting customers, fashion gossip, and big dreams. At night, we'd wander the streets for cheap late-night eats or stand in Times Square just to watch the screens flash neon commercials at midnight. Despite the cramped quarters, the early tension of bills, and the stress of forging new careers, I felt we were stronger together. Lucy often mentioned that I was her ticket to new adventures, and though it sometimes struck me oddly, I'd assumed she meant it as a playful expression. I never imagined she might be speaking more literally. After about a year, I was eager to start a family. I'd grown up in a large household, 3 siblings and endless noise, and always dreamed of having kids of my own. Lucy, however, was more hesitant. Me, tentatively, Lou, we've been here a while. Maybe it's time we think about the next step, a bigger apartment, maybe, and in a year or two, a baby. Lucy, nervously laughing. Oh, a baby, already. Don't you think we should enjoy ourselves first, get more settled? We're not exactly rolling in money. Me, sure, but we'll never be truly ready if we wait for everything to be perfect. I want us to build something real. Lucy, smiling but evasive. Maybe sooner, okay, but let's not rush. I tried not to be disappointed. The truth was, our finances were tight. My job was promising but not guaranteed, and Lucy's schedule at the boutique was unpredictable. Maybe waiting was wise. Still, a tiny voice inside me whispered that Lucy's reluctance wasn't just about money or timing, yet I chose to dismiss that worry. The company party. My work situation improved drastically when I was promoted to a more visible role in the company. This meant more intense hours, but also more money and an invitation to exclusive corporate events. One evening, I was thrilled to bring Lucy to a special party hosted by one of our directors in a swanky midtown bar. It was one of those events where the room felt electric. Executives discussing deals with cocktails in hand, colleagues laughing over inside jokes, the clink of champagne glasses echoing over the hum of conversation. Lucy wore a simple black dress that highlighted her figure, and she turned heads from the moment we stepped inside. Me whispering to Lucy, "You look stunning. Thanks for coming with me." Lucy grinning, "I'm loving the vibe. Free drinks, fancy people. It's like a scene from a movie." At first, the evening seemed perfect. Lucy charmed my coworkers with her wit. I introduced her to the directors, and everything felt exhilarating. But halfway through the party, I noticed Lucy in a corner, deep in conversation with a man I hadn't seen before. He was older, maybe around 40, tall and impeccably dressed in a tailored suit. His salt and pepper hair exuded confidence, and the way Lucy leaned in, flipping her hair, told me she was captivated. Me approaching politely, "Hey, there you are. Mind if I join?" Lucy brightening her smile a bit too obviously. "Oh, hi. This is Mark. He's one of the company's private investors." Mark offered me a handshake and a cool, confident smile. His eyes flicked from me to Lucy, lingering a moment too long on her before he turned back to me. "Mark, pleasure. I've just been telling Lucy here about some of my ventures. She's quite the conversationalist." I forced a laugh and tried to join in, but a sour feeling churned in my stomach. Lucy looked starstruck, enthralled by Mark's stories of yachts, high-end real estate, and a lifestyle I could only dream of. We ended up heading home late, Lucy barely speaking in the cab, eyes shining as though she'd glimpsed a new world. Slipping away. Over the next few weeks, Lucy changed in small but noticeable ways. She was no longer content with cheap takeout or quiet nights watching movies. She'd mention nice dinners or weekend getaways we could never afford. I saw the same hungry gleam in her eyes whenever she talked about Mark, how he was so refined, so successful, an inspiration. One day, Lucy came home far later than usual, claiming she'd been out with her boutique friends, but the faint smell of expensive cologne on her jacket and the flush on her cheeks told a different story. I didn't bring it up at first, but the tension between us grew heavier with each passing day. At the same time, Lucy started telling me that she wasn't sure about our life together, dropping hints that maybe we'd rush things. This was a far cry from the Lucy who once beamed at the bright lights of the city when we first arrived. I realized something was deeply wrong when Lucy abruptly accused me of being unfaithful. It happened one weekend morning while we were sipping coffee in our cramped kitchen. Lucy slamming down her mug. "I can't believe you hooking up with some random woman behind my back. Did you really think I wouldn't notice?" Me, stunned. "What are you talking about?" "I would never cheat on you, Lucy. Where is this coming from?" She mentioned non-existent late-night phone calls, suspicious text messages, pointed to my work schedule as a cover for secret rendezvous. I was flabbergasted. None of it was true. Yet Lucy insisted, tears in her eyes, that she had proof. I tried to argue, but it felt like speaking to a wall. She stormed out, leaving me reeling. That very afternoon, I confided in my close friend Aaron, who worked in the same company as me. "Aaron, you're telling me Lucy's accusing you of cheating. That's insane. She should look in the mirror. I've seen her around with Mark. There's definitely something going on." A pit formed in my stomach. Aaron's words confirmed my darkest suspicions. He admitted he'd spotted Lucy leaving a midtown hotel lounge with Mark not once, but multiple times, their interactions far too intimate to be friendly. Truth revealed. Confronting Lucy directly would only lead to denials. Instead, I bided my time collecting what evidence I could. She was skilled at covering her tracks, never leaving texts or calls from Mark on her phone under his actual name, always meeting with a friend or staying late at the boutique. But a few missteps gave her away. A hotel receipt I found in her purse and Uber account log on our shared tablet that showed trips to the same luxury address over and over again. I compiled the evidence meticulously, screenshots, receipts, timestamps. I felt sick doing it, but I knew Lucy was trying to paint me as the betrayer so she could run off with Mark scot-free. Once I had enough, I confronted her one night when she came home late. Me, voice trembling with anger, "Lucy, we need to talk. Now." Lucy, tossing her coat aside, feigning innocence. "About what?" I'm exhausted. "Me. About the 4 times you've gone to the Grayson Hotel to meet Mark. About the text from him telling you which suite to find him in. Don't bother denying it." Her face went pale, then flush, as she realized I was serious. She crossed her arms, but her bravado faltered. Lucy, you have no idea what you're talking about. I silently handed her the printed receipt from a stay at the Grayson dated last Friday with her name listed as a guest. Then I showed her a screenshot of the Uber log. She stared at them, lips parted, no lies ready to defend herself anymore. Lucy quietly, then with sudden defiance. Fine. Yes, I was there. Mark is more successful, more mature. He knows what he wants. I'm tired of scraping by in this cramped apartment, Ethan. My heart hammered painfully. So you decided to blame me for cheating. Lucy shrugging, eyes cold. I needed a way out. You wouldn't have let me go if you thought it was just about the money. Face it, you can't provide what I want, and you can't. She gazed at me with a mix of pity and scorn, as though I were a naive child. Me, so I was just a stepping stone to get to the big city. She looked away, the silence answering for her. The final blow, Lucy might have assumed that she could divorce me on her terms, ruin my reputation, and walk away with a settlement or claim, but I refused to let her game go as planned. I had the evidence proving her affair. I also saved messages that contradicted her attempts to paint me as unfaithful. The next day, I filed for divorce myself, ensuring she couldn't blindside me. Me, voice shaking slightly. I'm not giving you a free pass to ruin me. You want out, you've got it, but you're not getting a dime from me. I'll fight this every step of the way. Lucy stared at me, a mixture of anger and disbelief. She might have expected me to simply fold, overwhelmed by heartbreak, or to let her manipulate me for sympathy. Instead, I stood firm. We parted ways soon after, her final glare searing into me as she packed her suitcase to stay somewhere else. I had a feeling that somewhere else was Mark's plush penthouse. An unfinished story. Weeks turned into months. The divorce process was not pretty. Lucy attempted to claim emotional distress, but my evidence of her ongoing affair with Mark destroyed her credibility. In the end, she left with almost nothing. It was a hollow victory. Nothing could truly soothe the pain of betrayal, but at least I was free of her manipulations. Life moved on. I immersed myself in my career, found a new place, bigger and brighter, this time purely mine. I found moments of solace in the city's hum, the knowledge that I still had friends who believed in me. Aaron checked in often, and bit by bit, the heartbreak dulled into a lingering ache. Then months later, a mutual acquaintance messaged me with an unexpected update. Lucy had returned to her old suburban hometown. The wealthy older man, Mark, had apparently used her for a while, then moved on. She found herself in a cold emptiness, no job, no stable ground, forced to return to the comfortable but modest life she once shared with her parents. I felt a strange mix of pity and vindication. She gambled on a fantasy, but the reality turned out to be more ruthless than she'd imagined. My love for her had died the night she confessed her preference for a wealthier man without even a trace of regret. Still, a small part of me remembered the bright-eyed girl who once gazed at New York's skyline in wonder. I was just a stepping stone to her bigger dreams. Yet, in the end, those dreams betrayed her as well. Now, as I stand on my new apartment balcony overlooking the city lights, I can't help but feel a bittersweet gratitude. The heartbreak pushed me to fight for my truth, secure my life, and never again ignore the warning signs of a partner who sees me as a means to an end rather than an equal. The skyline still dazzles, reminding me of how illusions can both enchant and deceive. But this time, I'm more prepared, wiser, if not entirely unscathed. Lucy's story in my life has ended, but mine continues, and I've learned that love in this metropolis can be as fleeting as the billboard lights that flicker on and off, promising a brilliance that can vanish just as quickly as it appears.